Hello and thanks for joining the first edition of Journalist Hangout this week. I am Veronica Dan Igboy. Today on the program, Saraki, well, we'll start with the Finance Minister Adeosun quits over NYSC certificate forgery. Saraki dares APC on impeachment, says the ruling party lacks the number to impeach him. And later on the show, outrage over killer headsman attack in Newman. I will be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju, Martin Soloja, and Adekunle Yusuf. Gentlemen, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Journalist Hangout starts now. A small leak of water, they say, will sink a great ship. So it has been for Nigeria's former finance minister, Kemi Adeosun, who has her finger burnt by a little fire she left unattended to a few years ago. After a deluge of criticisms that trailed alleged forgery of National Youth Certificate Corps, NYSC discharge certificate by her, the ebullient Adeosun last Friday threw in the towel and resigned from the cabinet of President Muhammadu Buhari. In her resignation letter, she alluded to have been the victim of a syndicate and had to quit to avoid being a precarious liability of the government. But what's next for Adeosun? Jide, I come to you now. What do you make, first of all, of her resignation? An act of integrity?
Yeah, I will just say that I'm happy that she has resigned. I would have praised her to high heavens if this had come earlier. She should have resigned the moment the story broke, because she knew in her heart that she had done something wrong. But rather than resigning at that time, some supporters of the government began to abuse Premium Times, calling Premium Times names as if they had written a story that was not correct. And the government spent ample time claiming to be investigating something that many people in the corridors of power knew the minister was guilty of. Yes, it's a tough thing to lose a minister who was clearly, in my view, one of the best two in the administration, but law is law. And the laws of our country frown against what Adeosun had done. No matter the circumstances, people will say, oh, many of us are guilty of that. Oh, the people criticizing Adeosun, they too, they are guilty. Many of us, the driver's licenses that we use are fake. They are these stories. The truth is, their ignorance is not an alibi in a court of law. Once you've infringed on the laws of our land, then action has to be taken against you. In this case, Adeosun, anyone who has read the NYSC Act will know clearly that Adeosun was not qualified for exemption, because the Act says is your age at graduation.
Yes.
Not your age when you come into Nigeria. You understand? She had no plan to come to Nigeria. But somehow the Chapel Hill consulting job came just a little less than 20 years ago, and she had to come here to work. It was at that point that she realized that this exemption certificate, she would need it. And then some people helped her. She knew that she was being helped to procure something that she was not qualified for. She knew from the beginning. So I will not join people to be praising, oh, it's unusual in Nigeria for people to resign from their jobs. There are some people that have listed Nigerians who resigned from their jobs, even ministers who resigned. So it's not even a new thing that someone resign. But in her own case, she didn't even resign at the time she was supposed to resign. You remember that we discussed this matter, and we said, why don't you step aside in the first instance so that this thing can be investigated, since the government said it was investigated.
Yes.
But clearly, what was being done at that time was to kick the can down the road in the expectation that Nigerians, after a while, they will forget. But in this age of the internet, and pester some people, you know, literally living on the internet, they will not forget. They will continue to talk about it. And we have some Nigerians going to court to say, no, this they have to be investigated and all that. So in the end, the pressure took its toll, and the minister had to quit.
Step aside. All right, so she bowed out of pressure, not as a result of she wanting to do something we'll call integrity, so to speak, like Jide has said. Do you share the same view?
I don't think it was because of our integrity. I think, you know, election is around the corner, and every government, whether the local government, state or federal, we want to go into election with less baggage, you know, moral baggage, that as much as you can shed before you go into the election. You know, I have a lot of knocks for this government, the way it handled, you know, Adeosun matter. Because the right thing should have been ask the minister to resign immediately. Sometimes it may be true, sometimes it is not. In our case, I'm not too sure whether she knew at the beginning that she was doing something wrong. You know, some of our people that were born...
For someone who is that exposed?
I'm saying some of our people that were born abroad, brought up abroad, schooled abroad, everything abroad, can be extremely naive. And some people who love to make money can, you know, make a quick, you know, cash out of that. I'm not saying that's the case in Adeosun. But when it happened, the right thing should have been resign immediately to show that at least we have, in Nigeria, we have women of honor. That you never did. Then this government started prevaricating, hey, we say this, we are investigating. Nobody investigated anything. But the real picture here is we don't have a country yet. If you look at what happened in Adeosun, our system, nobody should believe our system. This is a woman who came to Nigeria, passed through Ogun State House of Assembly. And before you do that, you must have, you know, scaled through some security, you know, hurdles at that level of government. And you were in that government for 4 years. Later, you moved, you know, to the federal level. The DSS, it is, you know, mandatory that the DSS will scrutinize your activities, your antecedents, your everything, including certificates. You pass through the DSS, the almighty DSS, that could stop Ibrahim Lamode from becoming the substantive, you know, of, Magu, or from becoming the substantive, you know, chairman of EFCC.
Twice.
If a DSS that was so effective in stopping the ambition of one man is unable to handle this, then we have a problem. You went into the National Assembly. Findings show that they dictated this at the some people dictated this at the National Assembly.
Yes.
And do you know what they did? They said, from our record, this woman may prove to be a stumbling block to some. You know, Nigerians can be very, very mischievous. Some of our senators knew this. They saw it when they tabled the file. Some said, oh,
they'll use it against her?
At some point in future, this will become useful. So when Adeosun started showing that, oh no, we have to do transparency, fiscal this, fiscal, then oh, this is the time. And what we are saying is that we don't have a country yet. When our systems can be so routinely abused, routinely, you know, with what I've seen so far, I'm thoroughly, you know, sad, because now nobody has been able to show that from NYSC who printed that certificate, exemption certificate.
Who got it for her?
Nobody is talking about that. Adeosun has resigned, she will go, and our problems will remain
with us.
In this government, there are more people who are even worse. Yes. Because when you look at Adeosun, our case is very, very small, except that she didn't handle it very well. We have people who didn't even have, you know, school qualifications that one is more, weighty than
more fundamental.
So they are in this government. They know themselves. There are some, investigations that have been done and published. But the government,
some have forged certificates.
But this government have been so insensitive to the feelings of the people that they won't bother to do anything about it. This is the time to flush out such people.
So how come she became the one that was sacrificed on the altar of all of this? Because stemming from what he has said, there's been so many talks about she not wanting to play ball with certain persons, like he mentioned, and talks about that maybe this government is just trying to score cheap political point by saying that they are responsive and responsible and transparent and all of this. But aside that, it seems that there is more to this than just the certificate forgery.
Well, definitely that is what I think my colleagues have said. She perished for lack of knowledge of the system. Yeah, because she should have done certain things. It's only
like
the
what?
truth. That's damage control. There are damage control mechanisms, and we can cite some precedents. Even in Abuja there, what she should have done. Immediately this happened, she should have admitted, oh, no, I didn't obtain a Nigerian passport until I was 34. I came here, I worked on these, and then they procured this, as Adekunle said. This is part of the failure of our institutions that he has mentioned, including the security agencies
DSF.
and even National Assembly, State Assembly in Ogun State. They failed the nation on this score.
So are they culpable? Does that make them culpable?
Definitely. It made them culpable. They didn't ask. If they knew this thing. Yes, we have seen even, they said that even the big Dr. Okonjo-Iweala didn't do her NYSC, but she didn't forge a certificate. Professor Bath Naji didn't do NYSC. These people have been ministers. There are so many of them like that in this administration. You know how it was handled under Obasanjo? There was a Director General of Nigerian Building and Road Research Institute who was also detected to have evaded NYSC, that is National Youth Service. Cool. And what the Obasanjo administration did was to get him to go as DG to the NYSC and enroll, and he did his own service. While he was DG, I was in Abuja as bureau chief of The Guardian at that time, and I noticed it was published. The man did his NYSC as DG, Nibri in Abuja. It can be found out from NYSC. The name of the man, Dr. Joseph Ali, he did his NYSC. So if the president's presidential bureaucracy, as I wrote even in my column yesterday, if it had been strong, they would have brought all these things together to do a damage control, to make her do her NYSC after apologizing to the nation that she wasn't aware, because these institutions of governance in this country failed her. She should have confessed, and people would have sympathized with her. She should have gone to NYSC and said, I'm ready to do the NYSC. Either they remove me as minister or all those things like that. It doesn't matter, but I'm ready. And I'm telling you, we are not so bad. Even as journalists in this country, we are not so bad. People will have sympathized with her. But they didn't handle it well. Look at the professors of law, too, in government, who say, what is NYSC? Instead of advising her to do the right thing, instead of the office of the SGF and others handling this thing, they didn't handle it. They were just dismissing. They were hoping that it will be forgotten. But forgery, a very serious matter. If people decide to follow up on this thing, you know that it will be grievous for her. And I think she has left the country. She has left the country. Those people, those lawyers, those advisors, when a professor of law will be telling the nation that what is NYSC is an institution of governance, an institution like that set up by law, and the provisions of the law say that you should serve at a certain age. If you didn't serve at a certain age, and if you come here, you have to confess that, oh, I didn't know, or this one.
Martins, in other countries of the world,
yes,
people do national service. Some do national service in the army.
In South Korea, it's 2 years compulsory military service.
That is to remember this player, this Tottenham Hotspur player, Son.
Yes, Son. Yes.
Son, because Son is their biggest football player.
Yes.
They've now said, okay, instead, if we tell him to go and do this, he will lose form, and then the fact that it makes us happy, we will lose that.
Yes.
So they've now said, okay, we can give you an exemption. We can still do it later.
Time, even You know, that is the only way
Ivanišević, the great tennis player,
yes,
former Wimbledon winner, he had to do his own national service in the military.
So it's compulsory.
In Israel, it is the same thing.
Yes.
So for someone to come out and because you wanted to defend someone who had infringed on our law to say what is NYC. So the rest of us who did national service and we had opportunity to know many parts of our country. So we didn't know what we were doing.
Nation building.
It is not. You see the tragedy of this era.
Yes.
Is that people think that it is everything that they can defend.
They can defend.
It is even a serious malady. Yes. That people think that for every act,
yes,
there is always a defense.
A defense.
What happened? There was no defense.
No defense.
I remember when the first set of appointments that the president made, and the appointments was skewed in favor of the North.
Of the North, yes.
There were some individuals from the Southwest, especially, yes, because from the Southwest, you see a lot of people who believe that they know too much.
Too much.
They were now saying, no,
leave him alone.
Leave him alone. What he has done is right.
I wrote that one in my column yesterday.
I'm heading somewhere.
Yes.
They said, leave him alone.
Leave him alone.
These are the people you can trust.
These are the people. No, they said these are the best people that you can find. And then Muhammadu Buhari, the lanky, honest, and truth-speaking president of Nigeria, came out to say, no, I did not use merit. I only picked the people that I knew. So, but you think that will finally shame these people and put their mouths in a permanent position of shut up? Apologies to Zebrudaya. No. They still continue because it's a career that they have taken up to defend anything.
We need to be conscious of time right now. I come to you, Adekunle, quickly. Now, because of the weighty nature of this offense, forgery, there has been calls that she should be called back and be prosecuted.
I don't think so. You see, we should look at this matter very well. We have Nigerians abroad. Some of the people that were born abroad, brought up abroad, schooled abroad. You need some of the best talents abroad, to come back home. Yes. We need to handle this matter very well so that you don't discourage some honest Nigerians abroad from trying to come and contribute their quota to the development of Nigeria. I said that the government didn't handle this matter very well. Maybe some people thought, don't worry, we can handle it, we can do it.
Government.
Maybe Adeosun would have, resigned. I wanted to believe maybe she would have resigned because I don't see her as a woman who has this, stubborn, straight, the usual Nigerian politicians. I don't think she's one of them. So maybe some people thought they could help her. The government didn't handle it very well. Now, why are you talking about prosecution? If you prosecute her,
in absentia.
In absentia or what? What about the agencies that failed us? Who will prosecute the agencies? Because, yes, what about NYSC? Who will you prosecute in the NYSC?
If you can quickly hold the thought, we have Kayode on the line calling from Ogun State. Go ahead with your contribution, Kayode.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, Mr. Babajide.
I greet you.
Yeah, I'm following you on Facebook, and then I really appreciate what you're doing on a daily basis.
Thank you.
May the Lord be with you and your colleague.
Amen.
Is that your contribution?
Are you done?
No, and then I really learned something from this NYC stuff. Even me, I'm supposed to go and do my NYC exception letter from Yaba Tech. But for this reason that is going on now, I'm just doing it before as if I'm not going to do it. But now I learned a lot of things from this thing now because I don't know what will happen in future.
Yes.
So, by special grace of God now, we'll do something about it to go and do it. Even if any Nigerian that's yet to do anything about this thing, they should go and do it.
All right, Kayode.
Thanks.
Thank you. You must go and do this. Thank you. Thank God.
The point I was trying to make was that we gain very little from prosecuting, Adeosun. If we don't extend same prosecution to people in the DSS, people in the National Assembly who are in the know of this, because I can name names. Many people are in the know of this. Just name which committee and do this. They were in the know of this. You go back to the State Assembly in Ogun State. You go back to other people that were in the know of this. Fine, she may have been naive to do certain things. What about our system? How do we make our system better? These are the issues I expect. These are the issues I expect us.
Yes.
Then we should try to discountenance shameless professors who try to defend illegalities. So that from now on, such professors, when they speak, we should just
quickly, Martins, your final
definitely, I think that in this circumstance, wherever she is, because it was an honor and privilege to have served this country at that level, she should come back. That's my advice. She should come back and enroll for NYSC and do this because she has a great future. A lot of people in her office were weeping when she was leaving. You know, many people do not have character. I understand that this was like a tragic heroine. Now she has this. She had tragic flaws in her character, and I think that she should come back and do this NYC, and I think she will become a national heroine.
I think that we must not lose track of the fact that certain elements were behind the release of that piece of information at this time.
Yes.
Well, and I suspect
from the National Assembly.
No, not National Assembly.
Maybe from Abeokuta.
I suspect seriously that within the NNPC, because she complained that NNPC was not making remittances when they had that impasse with FARC.
Yes.
And she said the president at this point must step in, And she also complained about the so-called level of consumption. We want the world to believe that we are consuming 50 million liters a day. People have said that is not practicable, So then on Thursday, she had that press conference. It was on air. By Sunday morning, this thing was out. It's what the Yorubas will say, Ajekela who does not know that it is the witch that cried last night.
She had a running battle with NNPC.
So the thing is, we know beyond those who had been extorting money, officially making extortions out of her, the people that she complained about that they were not making those remittances, we have to beam a searchlight on them so that Nigerians will know them for who they truly are.
All right, now we have to quickly take this break. Still to come, Saraki Des, the APC on impeachment, says ruling party lacks the number to impeach him. Stay with us. All right, the political travail of Nigeria, said the president, Bukola Saraki, can be likened to that of three-time Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi, who many described as a cat with 9 lives. Berlusconi owed that appellation to many controversies he courted and escaped from being impeached. Saraki is enjoying similar status with the Italian perpetual power broker after enduring a turbulent presidency of Nigeria's upper legislative chamber, the Senate. He emerged president of the Senate against his party's wish and remained on the hot seat, even after ditching the same party, the All Progressives Congress APC, for the PDP. Following call by APC National Chairman Adams Oshomole for his resignation, Saraki on Sunday said he wouldn't be impeached. In a daring comment in Minna, Niger State on Sunday, he stated that, quote, "Those who are being emotional don't have the number," end quote. Martins.
This is, it's our politics, and this is how politicians talk. But you know really that he has, even if you remove him now, what is it? He has survived for more than 3 years. He has been on this seat because of mishandling by his old party.
Former party.
By his former party, the APC. And now he is blowing hot, saying that they don't have the number. Really, you know that it's a game of number.
Of course.
And, when they said initially that you needed even about 24 of the two-thirds of those people in attendance at a session of the National Assembly, but constitutionally they have proved that you require at least 753 senators to remove him. And you know the system the committee system of the National Assembly is the power of the National Assembly. Most of the people who talk openly that we will remove him, we should remove him, or this thing, are chairmen of committees, strategic committees in National Assembly who would not like to lose that seat at this time. And
really?
Yes, they will do everything that is politically possible to ensure that they don't remove him, because they are not sure they will get this chairmanship, because that is the power of National Assembly.
So their party's interest has nothing to do with it. And the party
now, is a house divided against itself.
And Adekunle, he's speaking with so much confidence and he's certain. Where do you think his confidence stems from beyond the numbers?
You need to look at the APC very well. It's a party that is divided against itself. Sometimes when the national chairman speaks, I find it amusing, because I expected him to, engage more with party, elected, lawmakers from the party, from the APC. Do it quietly, secretly. Allow the people to vote, maybe in a secret ballot system or whatever now. You won't be surprised that many APC senators will vote against Saraki's impeachment.
Like what Martin said?
Many. I don't want to name names. Many will vote against the party's wish. So, believe me, the problem of the party, the problems of the country, I'm not a fan of Saraki, but when it comes to election of the National Assembly, I didn't like how he marched. But when it comes to impeachment, the Constitution is very, very clear. Unless you want to indulge in illegality, and even if at all you achieve that, who benefits from that? Most politicians now, their attention is on re-election or election, how you get the party ticket, how you get the party to be in good standing for election and all that. So Saraki today, Saraki tomorrow, every day you must impeach him. Why are you popularizing Saraki? Until the national chairman of APC is just, giving Saraki cheap publicity, making...
They want someone who is loyal to the party on that seat.
Someone who is loyal to the party. Even many of the senators are not even loyal to the party. It's not only Saraki. Many of the senators, many of the House of Reps people from the APC, they know, they just benefited from that party. Many don't love that party. They are not loyal to the party. Some are saying openly that they will remain there and bring it down together. Some, that we can say maybe they have integrity, they left the party. That I won't be in and be doing damage. Some want to be inside the party and be doing the damage. I don't know what is happening to the ruling party. It's a party that is divided against itself. It's an opposition party, but yet it's also the ruling party. So it's very, very difficult for anyone to say, let's impeach Saraki. Go and do it. You'll be surprised with the results.
But the party, Jide, the party is confident that they will be able to achieve that even without the numbers. But you know what
Without the numbers? Did they say that?
Yes.
That's illegality.
I love to read that story.
We are in a democracy and
Nobody has ever said that. Nobody.
I read that somewhere.
No,
They said so in the beginning, before they started reading.
They didn't say they will impeach without the numbers. No.
They said that
They said
they had their own formula of third.
Yes.
Huh?
They said they had their own formula of third until...
No, they said they will
lawyers
impeach him
started discussing
democratically.
it.
Don't worry.
That's what
They said democratically.
The chairman of the party has said it that they will not remove him illegally. He had a press conference. We did a documentary of 1 hour on it, and he said it that we will remove him legally. So if he's the chairman of the party, he qualifies to speak for the party. And if that's what I heard from him. So I don't want to believe that the APC will say they want to remove Saraki without having the numbers. That's ridiculous. That won't happen.
And legally, how is this going to go, seeing that the law already has said there has to be, the numbers have to come to play?
No, the thing is, the truth is, when there is no ambiguity about how it can be removed, lawyers can say what they like. You know, the lawyers, you see all kinds of lawyers when this kind of scenario, when you are confronted with this kind of scenario, you see the lawyer who wants to simply mislead people.
Both sides
You see the lawyer whose training comes to question. You want to question the training that lawyer has, all because a lot of us have lost the ability to be objective. The truth is, based on the appeal court judgment read by Justice Oguntade, it has to be the 2/3 of the number, not the number of people present,
the entire,
of the number of senators.
109.
So, and the 2/3, you are looking at 73.
73.
So, if you have 73, then you want to impeach Saraki, Saraki goes. But the truth is, as much as we are not fans of Saraki, everyone who watches this program knows that. But what we want to see is for democracy to get stronger in our country.
Definitely.
And democracy can only get stronger when you do things according to the rule of law. Now, the dynamics are changing every day. As we speak, the chairman of the party has really worked hard on National Assembly members, worked hard on senators, because he thinks that it is an anathema for a Saraki who is no longer a member of the ruling party to continue to be Senate president. Although the Constitution does not say, the rules of the Senate does not say you must be in the ruling party to be eligible to hold that position, as long as it's your colleagues who have elected you. But morally speaking, this is what Oshiomhole thinks. This is what many people think, that, look, you are now a member of the, what's it called, of the PDP, that is now officially the minority party in the Senate. Therefore, because they too have gone ahead to name Olujimi as minority leader, which means the PDP recognizes that it now sits in the minority. So now it becomes a moral problem for the Senate president to be a member of the minority party. But as I said, the dynamics are changing. The chairman has worked hard to try and build a consensus, build unanimity against Saraki. But governors in the states are taking away the tickets from some lawmakers that ought to work for their party and ensure that they have the number. You go to a place like Ogun State, for example. They have three out of the three senators. One is from PDP. That's Buruji Kashamo. The remaining two, by his own invention of a consensus arrangement, the governor of Ogun State has taken away the seats of Teju Osho. In fact, it is Teju Osho's seat he wants to take over.
He needs it.
Then the man from Ogun West, Dada, he has also taken his seat from him and given someone else. Now, do you expect these people to come back and still continue to fight for their party? Except the party is able to fight for them till the very end and ensure that these governors do not take away the ticket that these lawmakers
But
deserve.
is that possible?
If you go to other states, look at, there is a big, you go to Yobe, Bukaba Ibrahim's seat. The governor of Yobe is interested in his seat. You go to Zamfara. Yerima Bukura's seat, that is Sani Yerima, his seat, the governor of his state is interested in the seat. It doesn't matter that is the politician that made him. You know, look at Akombi that made so much noise the other day that, look, I was not part of, I didn't defect, I am still loyal to APC. his legs are shaking. His legs are shaking. Maybe he can still take it back. But, and it's like that all over. Look at Kaduna. Despite the fact that he has made at least 2 trips to the president and he had photo shoot opportunities with the president, people are seeing smiling with the president, and the chairman of the party is praising him that, oh, Shehu Sani's seat.
It's not safe.
Nasir El-Rufai has continued to swear at him. You know, re-swearing. At every opportunity, at any gathering, he will swear at Shehu Sani. Yes. And everyone knows that he is not disposed to having Shehu Sani return to the Senate. So a lot of those incumbents from the ruling party.
Critical factors.
Like 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, the way they are thinking is not the way they are thinking now. And I can tell you, it's the presiding officer that has the power to reopen. Because at that time when they were adjourning for this long break, it was a unanimous decision. Somebody proposed, the other person seconded. The people proposed, and the people seconded, and the people leading the agitation that they should reconvene now. Saraki knows what he's doing. Saraki will not reopen the Senate until after the primaries, when everybody will be able to say, this is where I am now. People will come into the chambers with people with eyes blazing. Eyes blazing. So with so much bitterness in their hearts.
They will listen to
they will not listen to their party again. No. Except the APC is able to do something about this governor. Every governor appears to be interested in going to the Senate.
Did the party make intervention, seeing that this could keep work against them?
You know, foundation is very important. You know what Adekunle said earlier, that the chairman of the party started talking when he should have been consulting, doing some constructive engagement.
He was consulting. He was confident that he will find the number.
Yeah, he was confident.
He was very confident. But things have changed since that time.
He didn't consider the factors. He didn't have good political analysts, risk analysts around him to tell him that before you start talking like this, these are the things. Because Nigeria is not Ghana.
He told the governors. He told the governors to leave those seats.
Yes, the diversity
I'm aware that he told the APC governors not to covet the seats of lawmakers that they need at this critical time. But those governors have their own idea.
But he didn't lobby them.
Everybody has his own interest.
Politics.
The governors,
you lobby. You don't talk to people like that. You are a governor. Is a governor that is leaving. You are talking to another governor.
You can only protect a party that has protected you.
Gentlemen, hold on. We have Mukhtar on the line. Mukhtar, go ahead with your contribution.
Hello, good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
And let me make a contribution on the impeachment moves against Bukola Saraki. I think Nigerian political history will never forget Bukola Saraki, and it will go down the history in the record of political history of Nigeria. You see, the division that was created in APC right from the World War during the former chairman, because of the internet crisis, agencies against agencies, you know, governors against senators, gave room for all these kind of maneuvers, which promoted Bukola Saraki. And to me, he is a political hero today, as far as the APC government is concerned. He was about his vision, but he escaped all the traps. And it is a wonderful game, you know. Democracy is a beautiful and a wonderful game. Bukola has schemed very well.
All right.
The government should be ashamed of itself because of.
Thank you, Mukhtar. Thank you. That's going too far.
Let me just conclude it this way: that the chairman of the party didn't lobby enough. You can't talk to the governor. All this governor, you know, in a complex diversity that we manage here, it's not like Ghana. If you look at Lagos, Lagos itself is a country within a country. Look at the northwest, northeast, southeast. And if you lobby here and people agree with you, these people would say, look at what has become of direct and indirect primaries. people are now talking about loyalty to the Constitution for the first time and not loyalty to the party because of personal interest. So
which one represents loyalty to the Constitution? All the three formats are approved by the Constitution.
Yes. So
both consensus,
indirect,
all of them are in the Constitution.
So when they now sat, they said, okay, we are going to...
Yes, it is interest. Where a governor sees clearly that he will not be able to win direct primaries, yes, he is going to ask for indirect. Look at what has happened in Adamawa now. Yes. One of the most badly run states in this country. Yes. Adamawa, as we speak, they've said that they have adopted Bendo as the governor. You know, these are the things. Meanwhile, people like what's his name, former EFCC chairman, which means that you've shut out all of those people who are interested in this position. Definitely. Why didn't he opt for the? No, definitely. I think that the parties should have considered all these things and adopted an arrangement, a consensus arrangement that would not have been controversial as it is now.
Let me add this. Do you know that some governors pay their senators, federal legislators from their states? You don't know. Some governors give stipends every month to their lawmakers, House of Rep and Senate. Do you know the reason for that? So that the governor can always control them. When it is time to take certain actions, they will consult the governor. Where do we go? This angle or this angle? Now, Adam Shomole that is talking tough about impeachment, how many of these governors, how many have promised him that they will work for the impeachment of Saraki? Before you start talking, you need to have guarantees. Without that, it's just mere blabbing.
He had guarantees in the beginning, but the dynamics continue to change.
Then if you don't stop talking about impeachment.
Even the people who were screaming impeachment at that time, among those lawmakers, how many of them are?
They have changed their song now.
So now you just find that you took the battle of the party on your head. Suddenly, they are watching. They've left you alone, and the governor is harassing you, taking your seats. So you tell yourself, "What am I fighting for?"
So what do you now expect when they resume from the recess?
When they resume, anything can happen, because Saraki said something that they do not know that we are in the majority. That's instructive. He thinks now that.
A lot of those people will cross.
Yeah. Because they are constantly talking. When the other day I said that there are many that by the rules of the Senate, you will get up to say you want to impeach. That was why third term failed. Because we'll see the faces of those who wanted third term. So by the rules of the Senate, it plays into the hands of the presiding officer. It's extremely difficult to impeach a presiding officer. Obasanjo had to go and make a national broadcast where he thoroughly diminished Wabara. And Wabara was forced to resign.
Yeah, definitely.
So it wasn't as if the senators voted, that Wabara should go.
There is no amount of money you take.
It's extremely difficult.
They will take the money, they will still not do your business.
If it is clear to them that it is you that is pushing for the removal of their leader, they are likely to take your money and not do it.
Yes.
Because they always
this is their nature.
That what they call independence of the National Assembly.
Yes.
That thing means everything.
It unites them. It unites them.
When they get there, they don't talk like APC, PDP again. And they just take about their interest.
And then in the beginning, the party didn't take control. Saraki has been the leader of National Assembly caucus. So it's difficult. No banana peels these days. All of them are.
It's even worse now that banana peels. It's even worse now that Baratu has defected.
So how many impeachment do you want to do?
If you deal with it's even more difficult than also arrest because you need 260 to impeach Dogara. So if you impeach this man, will you leave the other person?
Are you still going for Dogara?
All right, gentlemen, we need to leave this topic. topic now and move on. Now, Numan in Nigeria's northeast has been described on many occasions as Adamawa killing field. The area was in the eye of another storm last week when suspected herdsmen invaded and attacked 5 communities on Thursday. Some victims and residents of Numan say they have recovered and buried corpses of 27. Several others are reportedly unaccounted for. There has been widespread outrage over these latest killings, with growing humanitarian crisis due to displacement of more than 5,000 people. There is need to beef up security to avoid an escalation. What do you think, gentleman Judy?
These killings have been on since last year. It's such a shame that we've not been able to stop the killings in Numan. Killings have gone on for too long. And I remember when the Air Force descended on the area, strafing these killers. The story that was being peddled was that the Air Force was deliberately killing innocent people and all that. So I don't know whether the armed forces have been blackmailed to not do their best to protect people in that area, so as not to incur the wrath of propagandists and all that. But it's such a shame. And this last one, the attack on these 4 communities, what the residents of those communities are saying is that they had intel that this attack was going to take place, and that through their leaders they contacted the authorities. But that despite the fact that an army base is not far away from the area, nothing was done to stop these killings from taking place. We can't be killing ourselves like fowls like this. I mean, I've said it, I don't know any country in the world where lives have become so cheap as it is in Nigeria. Even if you monitor killings in Afghanistan, it is not as bad as this. It is not as bad as this. Syria, yes, they are at war. Yes. There will be bombing, there will be collateral damage and all that from mistakes by the Air Force. But people don't get killed in this manner. As we are trying to stop killings in Benue, you see people killing people in Nasarawa. As we are trying to stop that of Nasarawa, you hear that Taraba, they are killing people. What's going on? What's going on? These killings just have to stop. We were jubilating that in Zamfara, okay, that the killings have stopped. Suddenly, I think on Thursday or Friday, they resumed killing people again in Zamfara. I don't know what has really come over the people who are taking people's lives as if it has become a sport. So government has to do something to protect the people, especially in all these areas, in Numan, in local government, in Taraba State, in Guma and Logo, in Benue. We know the areas where people get killed. Yes. Why is it difficult for us to just concentrate on securing lives and property in those areas? It's not in all of those states. You go to this Adama, it's not everywhere that people get killed. We know those places. In Taraba, we know the few places where people get killed. Plateau. Why, and the same thing in Plateau. Is in the Barking Ladi area that people are being killed. Why can't we just secure those areas and show to the whole world that in Nigeria we value human lives? Because that's not the message that we're sending across by these needless killings. At least we can't say this is Boko Haram now. If it's Boko Haram, we know they are terrorists. Why should the people be killed in this manner?
Martins, like he rightly pointed out, why is it so difficult to secure these places? We know these places that are prone to all of these killings, but then it's seeming like we are not making as much effort.
And you can see that the answer to your question continues to blow in the wind. You know, almost every day we'll talk about this, but there's something significant we should point out. There is no medium of communication in Nigeria that has not been hammering on these headsmen, killer headsmen. And it has become so controversial. But government, especially government, has not done enough to ensure that some people are caught and punished for deterrence. Because this is the issue. And at international level, they are saying they have even tagged those headsmen as the third...
terrorist.
The fourth...
most
terrorist organization.
Yes, organization in the world.
Yes.
And at home, you know the way they are, even security chiefs who are now attributing what is happening to election instead of facing reality. The way they are talking about it, it's not the way they should be talking about it.
So
they
we are the ones giving them the room to carry out their activities
They say
the way
yes,
they want.
they are attributing it to election.
They're blaming politicians.
They are blaming politicians.
Even last week, I was reading that Boko Haram, escalation of Boko Haram attacks,
Yes.
are linking it to election.
election.
It's just ridiculous that this is both
like that. How many herdsmen have been arrested in the last 3 weeks, in the last 3 months? How many of them are being prosecuted? That is why people are saying, it's a hate speech here and there, but then when people are burying their own brothers and sisters like that, you want them to keep quiet and nobody is... That is why they accuse even the leadership of this country of insensitivity to this herdsmen issue. And I think that it is high time they began to do something, lest it will even affect their chances of getting sympathy even in this election that we are expecting.
Perhaps sentiments, like we have pointed out, sentiments to certain issues, it seems to be our challenge in dealing with certain things, really. Adekunle? Sentiments, especially when it comes to religion and all of its locality, it's not allowing us deal with the issues that we really need to deal with.
But remember, the buck stops at the table of
the government.
Mr. President.
The Commander-in-Chief.
He needs to protect everybody, all Nigerians. Is he doing a good job at that? You know the answer.
I'm not sure.
The problem in those areas started with this, they called the locals are Bachama tribe, and they have problem with herdsmen. And it's been on for a very long time. At some point, some people was, attributing religious, Muslim, Christian, Muslim. But yet, they were abducting people. Most of what you see in the media is just a minor...
Yes.
A little fraction.
Most of the killings, the kidnappings, the criminalities don't get to, to the media people. They don't report it. But the little ones that people get to know of, how are we tackling them? The government is not responsive enough. Yes. We've been on this program called for the sack of all the heads of security agencies in Nigeria. It's like they're tired of their jobs. Bring in fresh ideas.
But will that really change anything?
Certainly it will. Because if somebody is brought to TVC today to edit, you will want to make you want to make an impact. You want record. You bring fresh ideas, fresh hands, these are the things that you need. The government of the day has not been responsive in this area. And now you are going to an election. If you actually believe you need these people, you need to work for them. You need to make them feel safe. You need to secure them. The government is not doing that.
Because these are part of the people that you will need to come out to vote as well, and we need those areas secured.
Free and fair election in all these areas where you have insecurity. How would they want a continuation of a government that cannot secure them?
Sensitive.
So how do we move from here today? How should the government tackle this head on? Because like we have rightly pointed, we can't keep hearing the records of lives being lost and the elections are before us.
I'm not even so concerned about the elections. Whether because elections are coming, the president should protect people so that he doesn't run the risk of not being elected. That's not the issue for me.
Not the issue.
Whether today is election day or tomorrow is election day or election day will be in 10 years' time, the people deserve to be protected. The protection of our people should not be tied to any election or anything. Protect our people. It is the mandate that we have given the president that we have elected. And in protecting our people, you must equip the armed forces. The armed forces, they are trying their best. We still suffer from serious equipment inadequacy. So equip, if you have, I always talk about the Mi-35 because the Mi-35 is very useful in situations like this. And it serves justice without thinking of the ethnic group of the person that is making justice to. Doesn't want to know whether you are Fulani, or you are Bachama, or you are Birong, or you are Thief, or you are Ebira, or you are Okun. It serves justice. So equip the armed forces so that they will be able to do their job effectively. If they don't have equipment, you know, someone was saying that even a lot of these communities in the Bachama area that were attacked because of the flooding in that area, it's even difficult for vehicles to move in and protect the people. So many things need to be done, and we can only hope that the government will do a better job of protecting our people.
Be responsive as much as possible. Thank you, gentlemen, for your contributions on the program. Well, that's all on Journalist Hangout. Don't forget to join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on other platforms showing on the screen and on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Veronica Danny Boy. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.